I feel like colour-wise, they're not that dissimilar, are they? Cousins, not sisters. Hi, I hope you're all well. If you are new around here, hello, it's lovely to meet you. And if you are returning, thank you very fucking much for coming back. My name is Alana and I'm a 37-year-old lady living in Scotland, and that is where my accent is from. And on this channel, we predominantly like to talk all things beauty, skincare, hair care, lifestyle, travelling, bloggery, vloggery, bullshit, but with a liberal sprinkling of sarcasm and cynicism thrown in on top. Now, I do like the odd sweary word on this channel, and if you're not into that kind of thing, I completely understand. Please feel free to vacate. But if it does sound like your cup of tea, there's a wee subscription button down there. Give it a wee thumbs up and all that other YouTuber crap. Now this video is going to be a full face of ELF, okay? And we're just going to look at all of the kind of dupeable products that ELF have brought out, produced. Now you will notice throughout the video, I've had to cheat slightly on certain bits, but that's because I wasn't going to go and run out and buy all high-end shit that I just quite frankly didn't need or had owned before and wouldn't repurchase. So we're just chatting about some of the things, but also creating this look on my face if you like the look of it and you would like to see my views, opinions, and what ELF has duped, successfully or not, then just keep on watching. Today we're going to start with this little dupe idea. What has ELF duped? Are they just a dupe brand now? And I am going to start out with eyes at the moment, and I feel like that is their least dupeable category. But what I will say is I have a fair few of these already. These are the little bite-sized palettes, is that what they're called? I couldn't remember there. And I thought, well, why not use some of them? And I'm gonna see if I can create a similar look in comparison to using some more high-end stuff. Also, I picked up a few of these, which are the ELF, is it No Budge shadow sticks? They come in matte and they come in like a shimmer option. So I picked up this, which is Golden Goddess. I also picked up this one in Groovy Simpa, which is a matte. Now what I'm going to say from the get-go, I've already taken these out and swatched them, is that I feel like all shimmer sticks, no matter whether they're high-end or affordable, the shimmery ones are going to work better than the matte. It's kind of the same with shadows as well. And I feel like the matte ones are really, really akin to, is it Half Magic or no, About Face? Is it those sticks? They look really, really similar to that. And I would say that the shimmery ones take me back to the likes of the Laura Mercier. So I have swatched both of them on my hand here. And I'm going to put the Laura Mercier Caviar stick next to the gold one so we can have a look. That's the two of them on the end there. Now the colour is not identical, but in swatching, and then I kind of swatched it out on the back of my hand as well, I was like, do you know what? Yeah. They're just as good. They're just as good as each other. I'm just going to rub them out on the back here. With regards to the matte one, I was thinking of the Vive ones. I am not a huge fan of the Vive ones. I have the shade Mahogany, which is really, really dark. And I've heard other people saying that the lighter shades, they really work fantastic. So this could just be simply due to the fact of the pigment that I don't love the Vive ones. But what I will say again is that really and truly, for the price of the Vive product, and I would say for the price of the About Face one, all these kind of things as well, I think that the ELF one works a treat. It's really, really nice. It smooths out really nicely. I don't know what the staying power is like on them, and I'm not going to put them on today because they're not the same colour, obviously, but we are going to compare these two. Now on the eyes today, I'm going to take this palette, which is the Berry Bad palette. It's all kind of berry tones and pinks. And I'm going to take this from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Fire Rose palette. I don't think this is available anymore. Now, what I will say is, straight off the bat, they're not identical. I know this, but I want to see if I can create a similar look. What I will say is the two shades in the middle here, like these two, are not that dissimilar to these two here or the little matte one on the end. There isn't the same in the way of the lighter shades in the Charlotte Tilbury one, but we'll work around that. I am gonna take the kind of darkest shade here from the ELF one, and don't worry, I will use separate brushes just in case anybody's like, well, obviously you've dirtied the brush with the high end. And I'm gonna just place this here. So as I said before, I have had these for a long time. I have raved about them over the years. I think I even included them in a 500 subscriber giveaway. These little bite-sized palettes are fantastic. And I think considering the price of them, they work fantastically for what you're looking for. But they do lovely neutrals as well. This is I Love You a Latte. Mine's is broke there, you can probably see that. Just matte flat neutrals, no shimmer in this one. It's really, really nice if you just need it for neutrals and that's your kind of thing. And these cost a £5 or something like that. Is it £4? Yeah, I just checked it on my phone. Between kind of £4 to £3.95. They're not higher than a £5 anyway. They're about £4 in most places. And I have to say, I think they are brilliant. Now I've done this side. I'm not sure what don't know if I want a heavy corner or if I want a smoky eye yet. I do feel like certain palettes might smoke out a little better than others. For instance, I've heard a lot of people saying that the Hot Jalapeno palette wasn't fantastic. I love it. I love it. It takes a little bit more work than a high-end shadow, but I have to say, for £4, what are you expecting? The colour is there, the impact is there. Maybe it's just a little bit more learning about how to use the shadow and where to place it. That's all I'm going to say. Now, that's not the fault of the consumer, not at all, but they are £4. Now, on this eye, I am going to go in with this one here. This is obviously a little bit darker, probably a bit more pigmented as well. So we'll just take a slightly lighter hand, and that's what it's about. Can you achieve a similar look with a slightly lower end product? It's not about whether one is better than the other, because obviously there might be different formulas, things like that. People like the packaging better in the higher end brands. But what I'm saying is, on the long and short of it, at the end of the day when you're outside and people are looking at you, would people be able to tell that this is high end and this is not? That's a big question for me. And I think that e.l.f. have really tapped into that market. They know where people are like, do you know what? I really want to try this, but I really cannot afford it. I can't justify paying that for Charlotte Tilbury or whatever. Or maybe people who already have a product like that and they're like, do you know what? I've already got a foundation, I've already got a base, but do I really need to try one at £40 when I could get one for 14? Stuff like that. I think they're really tapping into that market. I also, and this is just my kind of own thoughts here, feel like they're probably definitely tapping into the market such as this. People like myself who are like, do you know what, let's compare these. Because everybody, like the average Joe is not going to be like, do you know what, I'm just going to buy these to compare these. They're going to be like, do you know what, I'm going to watch the fucking YouTube videos to see what the comparison is and if it's worth my money. So they're probably tapping into that market as well, and we've not even really thought about that. It's very, very clever of them. Now these are not identical in colour. Absolutely not. This one is definitely slightly warmer, slightly redder. But I feel like that is not too bad. They kind of look quite similar. So what I am going to do now is take the two that I feel are the closest dupes in this palette. These two here. Can you see them? Let me just swatch them for you first. Again, not identical. But can you guess which is which at this stage? Do you know which is high end and which is e.l.f.? I'll tell you right now, this one here is the Charlotte Tilbury, but it is darker, and this one here is the e.l.f. But really, they're the same quality. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those two, and I'm just going to work that into the crease a wee bit more. Look at that, gorgeous. I'm just kind of running this over the top of that area there to give it a nice little sheen, and I will take it up and over the matte shade as well, because I don't mind a whole shimmery eye. That doesn't bother me. And then I'm just going to do the same with the Charlotte Tilbury one, but obviously it is a little darker. And there we go. That's the Charlotte Tilbury one, and that's actually a lot closer in shade once they're on the eyebrows. This one is definitely a little pinker, a little warmer, a little redder, coppery. This one is a little darker, bronzy, but again, not that dissimilar. What I am going to do is I am going to use some of the eyeshadow sticks, because I want to take the gold one that I have here from e.l.f. and kind of pop this along here. And on this side, I will take the Laura Mercier one, the shimmery one. Again though, this one, as you can see, is a completely different. It's not as yellow. It's definitely a little warm. Again though, see once it's on the eye, is there that much difference? Not particularly. I'm going to take it in here too. What I will say is, I feel this is, look how well used this is. This is creamier. This is creamier. I can't lie about that. It's definitely a creamier formula. And what I do like about these as well is that I can kind of put this all over the lid and smoosh it out and it just works. I'm not entirely sure how the e.l.f. one will achieve that. I will keep you updated in other videos. But just a little something underneath to match that up. I've actually got, can you see that there? More fall down on that side. I didn't realise that there. I'm just gonna, look. Interesting, as I say, for a £4 eyeshadow. I've not done my base yet though, so it's fine. Okay, so I've zoomed you out a little bit. Reason being, I am going to do mascara and brows. Now, I've spoke about this product until I'm blue in the face. I think for years it went onto my yearly favourites list as one of the best kind of dupes for Glossier boy brow, I would ever say. This is the e.l.f. Wow Brow. I feel this is a lot more kind of everyday product for me. I have other ones that I really enjoy that give a little bit more of a fuller brow. I've got very dark brows anyway, but a little bit more of a fuller brow and a little bit more pigmented, whereas I don't feel like this one has a heck of a lot of pigment. It's a lot more easy to use, like I can just swipe this on through the day the way that I used to be able to do with Glossier Boy Brow. Now the reason I'm saying that is because I don't actually have an active Glossier Boy Brow at the moment. I stopped buying it because I just thought this was such a good dupe of it. So if that isn't a testament to how much that I enjoy this product, I don't know what is. Both of the products are very, very nice. If I was purchasing from Glossier, you know, I might be inclined to pick one up, but I just feel like there are so many good affordable options for Glossier Boy Brow now that it's not a must. I don't feel I need to buy it anymore. So what I am going to do is put this on both my eyebrows. Okay, I know this side's meant to be the high end, but I don't have that option and I think it is just as good. I know they also do the, what's the e.l.f. version called? It's Anastasia Dip Brow, but I can't remember the e.l.f. version. I've still got it, hold on. This right here, the e.l.f. Brow Lift. It is the clear gel stuff. You can see I've used it, but I have to say this kind of a product, it just isn't for me. I already have very big brows. I feel like when you're brushing them up with that stuff, you're maybe slapping them to your face. It's too much. I look a bit mental when I do that. If that's how you like your brow, no shade. But for me personally, I'm like, it's just a bit much. It's just a bit much for me. I do keep this though to use it when I'm trying to block out my brows, like flatten them for certain looks that I might do. Not that I've done that in a very fucking long time. But I do think this is a really good product. I have not tried the Anastasia Dip Brow, but I have to say another dupe there from e.l.f. because obviously this has been about for a while and the Anastasia one's been about for a while, and as far as I've heard, it is a very good one to rival it. Now what I'm going to use for my mascara is this here, which is the Lash Extender. I mentioned recently in the haul video when I picked this up that this is supposed to rival that of the Thrive Cosmetics. I don't know if you'll see it. If I can find a picture of it, I'm going to stick it here. And it is a tubing mascara, but it's supposed to be really good because it just like washes off with water as well, which most tubing mascaras are supposed to do. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to try this again on both eyes because I don't have the Thrive Cosmetics mascara. I would have had to pay quite a lot in shipping to have got the Thrive one here, and I thought, again, I'm not doing that. I'm not paying that money just to do that. So what we're going to do instead is just tell you if this is any fucking good. I've spoke about e.l.f. mascaras before. The Lash and Roll, which is obviously, again, another dupe from e.l.f., which is supposed to be akin to that of Roller Lash from Benefit. But what I have to say is I do not love the e.l.f. brushes. I'm using this one now and it's kind of doing the same thing, I'm not going to lie. I feel like the plastic brush mascaras from e.l.f. are so sharp and so pointy that when you're going right in at the base of the lash like this and building up your mascara, oh, is it sharp. And if you're not careful and you just get one a little too close and scratch, fuck me, is it painful. I would pick the Benefit over the top of the e.l.f. Lash and Roll any day, even though it is much, much cheaper. If you like it with regards to the same effect, yeah, it might do that, but just the actual using of the wand was horrible enough that I was like, I'm not buying that again. Okay, so that's me done a fair few kind of coats on this side. It's not the way I feel a classic tubing mascara is. I feel like this is definitely more kind of voluminous. It's a little bit more, says it's not supposed to be clumpy, but it's got a little bit of something about it that makes it a little bit clumpy. And I'm not hating that. It's giving it a little bit of something. It is not as clean as the likes of Glossier Lash Slick, which is also a tubing mascara. I feel this has got a little bit more oomph to it. I will update you on the longevity of this and what I think of it with fall down and stuff, because that is one of the main reasons I quite like a tubing mascara, because I get terrible, terrible panda eyes, and that's why I'm quite picky with a lot of the mascaras I use. Okay, so that's the mascara on both eyes. I have to say, I feel like there's definitely just a wee bit more something to this than a lot of tubing mascaras. I feel like a lot of tubing mascaras do just leave you with big, long, kind of clean looking natural lashes because of the nature of how they're made and what they're supposed to do. This has definitely got a little bit more volume to it, and it does remind me of that of the Merit Lash, what's that called again? Clean Lash? Is it called Clean? I'm sorry, I don't fucking remember. But it reminds me of that. The only difference is that the Merit one obviously uses a bristle brush with a tubing mascara, and I thought that's what was creating that smoky lash effect, that kind of more voluminous effect. But I feel like this one is quite reminiscent of that as well. So although I don't know if it's comparable to the Thrive one, maybe it kind of reminds me of the Merit one. So I don't think that's too bad. It is quite nice. And as I say, I will tell you about longevity and stuff like that because I'm not entirely sure at this stage how it will work with panda eyes down my face. All right, so let's talk bases. First of all, I'm going to talk to you about this. Again, another one that's supposed to be a dupe for Supergoop. Supergoop I have not tried, I'm not going to lie, but I wanted to give it a go because I really wanted to try the Supergoop for ages because it's like this sheeny, glowy SPF, it's got a little bit of a tint to it and all that kind of stuff. So I did put this on today before I started filming this video. I will have a little bit of footage in at the moment you'll be able to see with me putting it on. What I was kind of shocked about was it's more like a tinted moisturiser. When you squeeze it out, I was expecting a lot more sheen to it than there was, but I feel like the finished look on the face was very nice. I liked it, and I feel like again there's no kind of cast that's been left. I have the shade Sunbeam. It comes in 3 shades: Sunburst, Sunlight and Sunbeam. Sunbeam looks like it's the middle one, which actually kind of shocks me because I feel like this was quite light going on. It doesn't give me any colour to my face or anything like that. It doesn't leave a cast or anything, but I am surprised that this isn't the lightest shade. If I was to buy the Sunlight, I think that would be really, really light. So just so you know, this is around about £14 mark, so it's not like super duper affordable, but it's still pretty good in comparison to the Supergoop one, and I really liked it. The only thing again I will say is it is an SPF of 30, so you know, make of that what you will. I would prefer an SPF of 50, but it is as it is. So I already have that on. I put that on over an hour ago. We are now going to compare some basey products because we have here the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer and we have the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. Now, if that isn't a fucking straight ass dupe, I don't know. The packaging not so much, but I mean, fucking names, God almighty, the colour, everything. So on this side, I am going to put the Milk Hydro Grip. Now, the only thing I'm going to say is that I'm kind of putting a lot of basey things on here, which I wouldn't usually do. I wouldn't usually put on base upon base upon base because I feel like things start to all get a little bit and pill with each other. But today, let's just give it a go. And if it all goes tits up, this is not a fault of the product. It's a fault of me layering hundreds of shite on my face it probably shouldn't be and I'm not used to doing. Because I don't wear foundation that often, I am a little bit more of a tinted moisturiser gal, and we'll get into that in a minute. So for that reason, do I think I am the target market for this kind of thing? Probably not. Ooh. They feel incredibly similar. Even on the application when I was putting it on my face there, that felt incredibly similar. Obviously down to longevity and stuff like that, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe I'll throw in a little bit at the end of this video and let you know how it worked out where we get later in the day, or maybe I'll just put it over the top of this while I'm speaking and that'll save me the hassle. But I'll let you know what it wears like throughout the day and which side looks better. But on first application, I have to say those feel incredibly similar. Very, very similar. Very, very similar, like kind of dewy finish to the face. Let's see how makeup applies on top of them. Now, obviously, I couldn't have made this video without mentioning this because I think this is the first one that everybody was like, that is a clear dupe for Hollywood Flawless Filter. This is the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter. I have already made a video comparing Charlotte Tilbury and Halo Glow Liquid Filter. I'll see if I can find it and stick it up in the corner if you want to go and see it. The reason I'll not be doing it today is my Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter went off and smelled like cheese, so I needed to throw it out. So today, I am not going to apply this as a base, but I am going to talk you through my thoughts and feelings. They are very similar. This one has more coverage. The Charlotte Tilbury one has more glow, right? But both lovely products. They are not identical dupes. I like both of them an awful, awful lot. This one clearly is like 14 quid. The Charlotte Tilbury closer to the £40 mark. So huge differences in the prices there, but they are not identical. Obviously the packaging is similar, it's different with the top and things, but it's got this big huge doe foot applicator on it and things like that. I have the shade Light 2, I think. just shade 2 it's called. And the reason I picked this up is because I'm the same in the Charlotte Tilbury one, and I thought, well, they look about similar. This is a little bit darker than the Charlotte Tilbury version. I think it is a lovely product. I really, really like it. It's very much my cup of tea in the sense that I don't wear a foundation very often, but this is enough base for me with a little concealer over the top. So I can't say enough about this product, but they are not identical, but they do a very, very, very similar job. The 2 products that I am going to compare today are these, because this is the IT Cosmetics CC Cream, my Your Skin But Better CC Cream. This does work really, really beautifully and gives me beautiful skin, and when I've got that slightly warmer glow to me, I look a little fucking healthier. This also has an SPF of 50 in it. Again, we put an SPF on before that anyway, but just so you know, I actually think this is a beautiful product, and that is what I'm going to apply on today. You'll see here, it is a little darker for my skin, but I feel like it gives me a beautiful, healthy glow. It works quite well with my dark features, like my hair and my eyebrows and stuff like that, so I can kind of just about pull it off. I'm trying not to wipe snotters down my face because I'm still sniffling away here. Every time I come back to this product, I'm like, oh, this is brilliant. It's so nice. It is coverage, but it's kind of like sheer as well. It still looks like skin. It is heavier coverage than that of a product like this, for saying sake. This is probably my comfort zone as far as foundations go. So that is that side there. I think you can probably see this is a little darker on this side, but hey. And then I seen this was released. I have no interest in the original e.l.f. Camo, what's it called? Camo CC Cream. Oh, fuck me. The original one, I have no interest in that because that is just going to be super heavy coverage, full coverage, not my cup of tea. This is the hydrating version, and this is why I wanted to try it, but I am very, very dubious about the colour of this. This is meant to be 140 fair, but really look, I mean, this again, absolutely dupeable. Not identical, but very, very dupeable. This is going to be far too light. This is not going to work. This is why I don't like buying things online, because fucking never works. It never ever works. I hate it. This is so yellow. Might as well put some fucking yellow fucking face paint on. Oh, Jesus Christ. Right, let's just work with it. Let's just go with it. So, I was intrigued by this because I was wondering if it was the same as that and if it's worth, like, you know, the IT Cosmetics one is around, again, £30–40 mark. That one is about £14. So I wanted to see. But the shade is fucking horrific. That's so annoying because that is almost making me be like, oh, I don't like it already. But that is not a fault of the product. It's just, I hate buying products like that online. And I couldn't see it in store. There was none in my fucking area. So I've had to get this one, and oh my god, it's a totally different shade from that side. What I will give it, and what I will say is, also beautiful, sheer, but looks like skin coverage. Not too heavy duty, feels nice and like light on the skin. I don't feel like my skin can't breathe or anything like that. Product itself, on the surface of it, I think feels quite nice. I think it would be fine. See if it was all over. Well, it's just because one is so dark and one is so light. This one's maybe too dark for me, this one's too light for me. It is what it is. What I'm going to do just now is apply a little bit of blush and contour first, because I do like to go over the top with concealer after. So what I picked up were the obvious like Halo Glow beauty ones or whatever they're called. Now again, this is something I have tried the Charlotte Tilbury blush ones before, but I did not try the contour ones. I've tried the Beauty Pie version as well, which is obviously meant to be a dupe. I have seen a lot of people saying that these are very, very different from the Charlotte Tilbury one. I've seen Michaela McDade talk a lot about the fact that the Primark one is actually better than the Charlotte Tilbury one, so we'll just see. I picked up the shade Light Medium, and obviously it's one of these bad boys where you go, squeezy, squeezy. I hope somebody enjoyed that. And I'm going to just pop this right back here in the hope that this side of my face I can maybe salvage, because it maybe looks so light on this side. And I'm just going to gently... That shade is actually not so bad. I was a little worried about that, but that shade is quite nice actually. That... okay. I am surprised. There's not much that I don't say stuff about. That's lovely. I was not expecting to like this. That is lovely. Okay, let's do a little couple of dots here as well on the temple. And I'm gonna just draw a big old line here because I have a big old double chin and I don't care. That is nice. I like that. I'm now going to go on with the Camel liquid blush. I picked up the shade called Coral Crush because I have got the shade Joyful, or Joy it is, in the Rare Beauty one. Now, I've seen a lot of people saying, like, these are very pigmented, right? Very, very pigmented. But I've seen a lot of people saying that the e.l.f. one is a little dewier than the high-end one from Rare Beauty. It's got a little bit more kind of sheen to it. So let me just, again, put on, oh, I think that's brighter, isn't it? Just going to put a couple of dots on that side. The shape of the doe foot and all that kind of thing is slightly different from the Rare Beauty one. I feel like that's quite chunky if you're going to use it. But let's go into this side with the Rare one. This is a very, very pigmented blusher, I have to say. And I've loved this. It's a very summertime blush. It's the kind of blush I love, if I'm honest with you. I really, really enjoy this kind of high impact colour blush and then knocking it back a wee bit rather than having to build up blush. That just annoys the shite out of me. So this side is the Rare Beauty side. Let me now go into the e.l.f. side. Again, very, very high impact. It's given a lot of pigment the way the other one did. I feel like colour wise, they're not that dissimilar, are they? Cousins, not sisters. And I feel as well, just while I'm turning my head here, maybe this side is a little dewier. I mean, there's dew here, but I feel like this side is very dewy. And I am going to just knock this back a wee bit again because I feel like you don't want to be looking crazy. I mean, yeah. Okay. Feeling like, I get it. This definitely is a little brighter, like a little bit more pinky. This is more orangey. But once it's sheared out with other stuff on your face, I mean, really. So before I do any highlighting stuff, I am going to take this. This is the Putty Colour Correcting Eye Brightener. And this one here is the closest thing that I could see dupes for my holy grail favourite stretch concealer. The thing I would say is this shade is light, is it? Fair. It's very pink. This shade here is G10, right? So I'm going to use this on this side, which is lucky anyway because this is a slightly darker side. But if you look at them, obviously this one is really quite pinky. This one is quite more like a neutral colour. So while I'm going to have to heat it up a little bit because, you know, it's brand new. It's not got the same kind of feeling as the glossy one that I've been using for fucking 6 months or whatever. That is it there. It's very pink. Oh my god. I feel like these ones are maybe not dupes, but this is a colour corrector. This is not exact, but I figured that this one would maybe work with my complexion because I am quite fair, but it's certainly not exact. These are not a dupe. These are not a dupe. This is just a pot colour corrector. The other one's a concealer. We are where we are with that colour corrector concealer thing. I'm not gonna lie. I don't love that one, but they're not comparable. They're not. I'm kind of just thinking it's two things in a pot. They're not the same. But I just cannot find anything in an affordable realm that compares to this at all. If anybody can tell me, I would love to know. I also picked up this though, which is the Flawless Brightening Concealer. Does this have a shade as well? It's also light. This reminded me of Yves Saint Laurent Touche Éclat, which I have not used in years. I think Clinique used to do one as well. Do you remember? I had the Clinique one as well, and you click it. I remember these used to always take ages. Oh, eventually. Honestly, that did take a fair, I want to say that took about 90 seconds there. Probably less time than that, but just trying this on the back of the hand. Again, this is kind of pinky. So I see how it's going to be like, what does it say? Flawless and brightening. And essentially that's what Touche Éclat was supposed to be. It was supposed to be more of a brightening tool than it was a concealer. I am going to put this on both sides because obviously I just felt like as if I need to even things out here because on the other side, the stretch concealer is a little bit darker. And I'm not going to lie, I don't actually hate that product. That's quite pretty. That's quite nice. That is a relatively nice brightening and lightening concealer, I would say. So I'm quite impressed with that. I'm going to keep using that. You used to use Touche Éclat like up here and fucking down the nose. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. But actually kind of impressed with that. As you can see as well, I feel like there's still a lot of dew and things like that going on from the blushes and the base products. I don't know if I'm just getting a little glowy and I maybe need to add a little powder. I'm just making sure that I've not like forgot anything, because I think I've almost used everything. Lip products wise, I mean, there are a million things from ELF we could talk about. I also feel like they have a lot of stuff that is just kind of classic ELF. It's not like duping anybody. They brought these out quite recently. These were their lip liners. Cream Glide lip liners. I got this shade, which is Truth or Bear, which was a kind of pinky shade, it said. But I also thought in the swatches that I've seen, it looked relatively neutral. So this is what I'm going to go with. But this is my first impressions of trying these, and I have heard so many good things about this lip liner. Now these are only £2, I want to say, these lip liners. I wonder if any of you will remember when ELF first launched. I used to order it from the US initially, and then eventually they came to the UK. We're talking kind of maybe 2008, 9 era, I want to say, when I first became aware of them. And they had their pound line. It was a dollar line, and then when it came to the UK, it's a pound line. Okay, so this liner is very nice. And I feel like, I don't think it is pink. I think it's quite a neutral colour. It's like my version of a nude. I quite like that. But yeah, they had their pound line, and then they had their studio line, which was all £3. Do you remember that? And that's when I used to buy them, and I thought, oh, these are fancy. So I feel this to me is reminiscent of that original ELF. But obviously now they have like much more expensive stuff as well. The lipstick that I'm going to put on is one of the O Face lipsticks. I spoke about these in my kind of yearly roundup as well. I have two shades, and I have No Regrets and I have Standing Ovation. I'm going to put Standing Ovation on today, but just for a little idea of what I think these are dupeable of, I have already spoke about the fact that the packaging is a lot more high-end for drugstore. It's got this magnetic close packaging, which is very, very similar to a lot of high-end brands. This here is the Vive lipsticks. These are supposed to be matte lipsticks, modern matte, I think that's what they're called. They also have a magnetic close. And I have to say that although the packaging is not identical, I feel these are quite similar in texture. Again, colour-wise, maybe not. I'm going to use the two red ones here just for a bit of comparison. These are £9. So again, not like cheap, but a lot cheaper than the £21, is it, for a Vive lipstick nowadays? And that is them there side by side. There is a slight colour difference. I feel like the Vive one is almost just a little tiny bit warmer. They are both very, very true red colours. I don't think they really pull either way. It's just because they're next to each other there. Even now I'm looking at it, I'm like, maybe that one's got slightly more undertones of blue in it, and that one's maybe a bit more. I think maybe the pigment in this one is just a little brighter, and the ELF one is just a little duller. Is that what I'm trying to say? Like, they're actually a very, very similar shade. It's just that the pigment in the Vive one is maybe a little brighter. That's all it is. But again, I find these very, very closely reminiscent. And I think for what they are fantastic lipsticks. Stunning. These two actually go together perfectly, don't they? I have said these lipsticks, these are beautiful. They are not the cheapest lipsticks at the drugstore. I'm not going to claim that. Obviously, I spoke about the 17 cosmetic ones from Boots the other day. But my God are they good lipsticks. These are so, so nice. Okay, so that is me with the finished look. Let me zoom you in so you can see all the little particles and areas and stuff. And here we are here. I feel like I have had to blow my nose a few times, which is a little bit, again, it's not the fault of the products, it's because I've got this cold going on, I've had to blow it. But I feel like on the whole, let's look, would you know which side is which? Would you think that one side was costing, I have to tally it up and put it on the screen because I don't know in my head. This side of the face, although we have used a couple of the other things on both sides, this side of the face is costing way more than this side of the face. Would you think that you would notice a massive difference between my face at the moment and what I am wearing? Oh, that's so annoying. See, because I've had those daft wee clips in for too long, my fringe is a fucking mess. Alright, so I'm going to just have to live with it, and hopefully it'll sit a wee bit better, because I've washed it today, and the day I wash it, it never sits right. It's always flipping horrible. So anyway, that is where I'm going to finish this video. What are your thoughts and opinions? Do you feel, oh, the other thing I was going to say, do you feel like it's a bad thing that ELF dupes all these companies? I feel that there's space in the market for it. Again, I am an absolute budget beauty diehard. I fucking love it. I love when I see smaller brands dupe companies and I'm like, It's doing the same thing for a £5. I love it. What are your thoughts? Because people get a bit annoyed because they're like, oh, you know, the marketing, the creative side of things, the packaging, like people are designing this and then some other companies just come along and pick it up. But I think what we have to remember is, I get that, plagiarism, if you want to call it that, but I feel there are so many things within the beauty industry now, like nothing is original. It just isn't. And I know obvious duping, yeah, it can be frowned upon a bit, but I think there is a market for both. I think people who just cannot afford high-end stuff, we're talking like stuff that's duping the likes of, you know, Tom Ford, for instance. Like, not everybody could just go and buy a Tom Ford lipstick. They are very, very expensive. I personally couldn't justify that. And I buy a lot of makeup and I do buy higher end products, but there are certain things that are just like up there. And I like that brands like ELF are bringing that down a little bit for people to make it more accessible and make it everyday wearable at almost the same quality and finish. What's your thoughts and opinions? I'm going to get off the screen now and I will see you all again in the next one. Bye.